if you believe it's murder? You know, that's why I don't understand the 15-week thing. Or the Trump's plan is, let's leave it to the states. You mean, so killing babies is okay in some states? Like, I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left on when they say, oh, you know what? They just hate women, people who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder. And it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you. That's my position on that. What?
That's quite harsh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Is that not your position if you're pro-choice?
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today. We're going to give an analysis about abortion again. And Bill Maher just admitted, like a lot of pro-lifers think, he admitted the quiet part out loud. And this is the to me, this is how you know when someone's intellectually honest, in my view. Bill Maher just admitted something that I think is actually true about the pro-choice side, is that you're just okay with killing life at a certain time. Hey, we're okay with killing a human life at 15 weeks, right? And this is why I said when these when these people on the pro-choice side, the pro-abortion side come out and say, oh, we care about women's rights. It's a woman's right to choose. They don't finish their sentence. To me, that's how I take it. It's a woman's right to choose death for her child. That's it. And the only tenable position, in my view anyway, and maybe someone could disagree with me in the comment section, for the pro-choice side is that you have to consider the baby property of the mother. The same way slave owners and slaves were property of the slave owner, you must consider your baby in the same light. Because that's the only way you can justify my body, my choice. It's not your body. You don't own this body. This body is separate from you. It just, you made a decision, right? You were able to consent to having consensual sex. This was the product of it. And now you don't want the product anymore. This is why I say abortion is heavily revolve around the convenience of the woman, right? And Bill Maher, I think he just admitted the quiet part out loud. I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. This is a criticism against Trump when he says leave it to the states. And it shocked everybody. You saw the intro. Well, Bill Maher is correct. Abortion is murder, period. Not surprised he doesn't have a problem with it. So sad he thinks this way. And to me, this is the kind of atheism that I can respect, right? Because I always say atheists, when they try to play moral arguments, like, oh, you just gotta be a good person. What is that for an atheist? Like tell me. Because a lot of your morality is borrowed from religion and other philosophical thoughts that doesn't consider this life meaningless. We consider this life meaningful, right? That's how a nihilist atheist should think. Hey, what matters to you? Hey, I'm here now. I got power. I get to make decisions of whether you get to live or die. Wham. That's how I see an atheist sometimes. I think that's the only logical, consistent place that you have. Believing that there are too many people on the earth can really harden the heart. Yes. Margaret Sanger was the one who created, the founder of Planned Parenthood. She had the same exact idea. But her idea was, hey, we have genetically inferior people who outbreed genetically who she considered superior people. So abortion was a way to corral that. This is one of the biggest reasons why I'm against abortion. The left love to praise about how, anything that disproportionately affects black people is racist. Well, abortion disproportionately affects black people. So is that not racist? Is abortion racist? I'd like to hear that in the comment section below. Because about 1 million abortions happen per year. 40% of those abortions are black children. Isn't that not racist? 400,000 black folks, black lives killed per year because their mom didn't want them. And there's various reasons for that, but most of it is elective. 98% of the abortions are elective. That means these babies were healthy. These babies pose no threat to the mother. These babies were conceived over consensual sex, and the moms just didn't want them. And some of the justifications that I hear a lot of women say when we need abortion is because of financial security. Oh, my financial outlooks ain't going to be as high if I have kids to deal with. And I consider that a lie. Some women also like to put out this idea that, if I can't give my kid the ideal lifestyle, then it's not worth living. Life is worth living regardless of how you got into it. I grew up poor. I had a fun childhood. I had a great childhood. I didn't realize I was poor until you got around middle school and you start comparing yourself with other kids. And I think this is what's going on in our society. This is why I say we live in a materialist society. that, oh, if I didn't grow up rich, there's no point of me being born. That means, this is why I say abortion can kind of like abortionists agree with Margaret Sanger. They just pretend they don't. Hey, you're not financially wealthy. You shouldn't be allowed to be having kids. Poor people shouldn't be allowed to have kids. There's a lot of white people, a lot of Hispanic people, a lot of black people. That means you're saying the single mom who had kids outside of wedlock has 10 baby daddies. You're saying, hey, you made a mistake. You had all these kids. You should have aborted all of them. None of them should be living. Denying the fact that we have welfare for people like that, but you are against abortion bans. Like, make it make sense. That's what I'm saying. This is my idea of, like, when I hear pro-abortion people, they don't believe in choice. They only believe in power for women. Because a woman gets to dictate and decide whether a man becomes a father or not outside of his will. How is that my body, my choice? You're doing things that affects other people. One, you can kill the kid. The other, you can make someone a parent against their will and then make them financially responsible for it. Y'all can't be pick and choosy. This is the problem with pro-abortionists. And this is why I say pro-abortion, y'all need to work out the kinks of y'all stance and arguments. But I digress. So we got a little bit my side about these things, and I kind of want to react to a video. Just give me 1 second, and then we'll dive right into it. Let's take a look.
Why is abortion an important issue for women?
Because it's our body, our choice.
Because it affects our bodies, our lives, our mental health, everything to do with ourselves.
Women have the right to choose what they want to do with their bodies. So
having the government decide what we do with our own bodies is not the best idea. It's healthcare. It's not government decision.
Would you agree that abortion by and large is consequence-free sex for women?
No. No, it's not.
Why is that?
Oh, that's a good question. Is it consequence-free for men too?
Yes.
If a woman can decide to have an abortion?
Potentially. I mean,
Sorry, guys. I was just going to let it clip out, but I had to respond. Essentially, that's what it is. That's why, in my view, I believe, like, if you look at the men that are pro-abortion, these are the kind of men that, they tend to be atheistic. They tend to be liberal, right? Now, you might get some religious person here and there, advocating for, it's their right to do whatever they want. Oh, like, this is my problem with, like, the abortion debate, is that you got two fractions of the abortion debate. You got people who are, like, idealist, like, fundamentalists. Like, I'm somewhat like that. And then you got the people who just want people to do whatever they want. Like, these are the same people who agree with transgenderism. Oh, let people live how they're comfortable living. No one should be forced to be a parent. This is this absolvent of responsibility and accountability culture that is prominent in my generation, the millennial generation, and in Gen Z, is that we don't want to take responsibility for nothing. If you grew up poor, you chose the wrong major, it ain't your fault. It's the college fault for not telling you that this major was going to end up in a dead-end job. It's this institution's fault. It's the system's fault. It's blame. You don't want to look at the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson. You don't want to look at the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. Nothing's ever your fault. This is the kind of culture that we have kind of conditioned into people, to the point where now they come here and say, oh, it's not consequence-free sex. It's like, well, he got me pregnant. Well, when women, this is my problem. When women want child support, they go, it take two to make the child. But when it's time to make a more impactful decision, a more important decision, whether a life gets to live or die, only one party gets to make that decision, but it took two to create the baby. Make it make sense. Imagine that. You help create a company, but for some reason, because of the gender of another person, they have sole rights to decide whether the company gets to continue and survive or gets dismantled when you contributed to the creation of that life. Pro-abortion is not based on fairness. It's not. And then you want to benefit from child support at the back. Like, nah. To me, this is how, like, fundamentalist I am. I say, if you're a pro-abortion person, you should, because end of the day, pro-choice is pro-abortion, because you have choice to, send that kid up to adoption, put it through the foster care system. And this is one of the arguments that I've been hearing lately online about abortion, why women should abort a kid, because they think it's better for the kid to die than to suffer a hard life. And I'm like, suffering is part of the human condition. Like, we all suffered. Like, talking to you now, you remember a time where you felt it was hard. Maybe it was a good year, good 3 months. You're stressed out. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you didn't know how you was going to pay the bills. Maybe you were going through some bouts of sadness and depression because maybe life didn't turn out the way you wanted it to be. But end of the day, when you got through it, when you made it at the other end of that phase, you realize how grateful you are that you have a shot. As long as you're alive, you have an ability to change your circumstance. You may have grown up poor, but you don't have to end up poor, because that's my childhood. Like, I grew up in the hood. I grew up in Little Haiti, in Miami-Dade, a county, right? My life wasn't, I wasn't that poor, but I didn't have all the cool stuff and gadgets, kids rubbing in my face. They got the Nintendo, the DS, right? It took me 2 years after it came out for my mom to be able to afford me one, right? But I feel like those things grew character in me, right? Like, as an adult, I feel so much more resilient than the average millennial because I grew up in those circumstances. I know how I can live with less. I know if I lost my house, if I end up poor one day, it won't crush me because I lived that life for 18 plus years already. And this is like, I don't know, it prepared me for the struggles of life. I know how to deal with the ups and downs of life. And I think this is what we're missing in our culture because we care so much about people's self-esteem rather than their self-control. And this culture shows a lack of self-control to the point where now women want consequence-free sex. Men don't want any responsibility to their child. All you got to do is look at what's going on with Fresh and Fit right now. Men don't want to be responsible for children. And this is the argument that the pro-abortion people don't want to acknowledge, is that a lot of the times, a lot of women, I don't know how much, I don't know the percentage, but I bet you a lot of these women that does the abortion have been pressured by their family, their boyfriend specifically, to get the abortion because no one wants responsibility for nothing they do anymore. And I think that is the source of why so many people want to make exceptions for abortion. Why they want, we want access to abortion. It may not be right or wrong, but we just want access to abortion. That's why I put Bill Maher in the beginning, because I believe he was the most honest person out of anyone who opens their mouth about abortion. Chris Rock too. Chris Rock joked around it too. Hey, I want to kill the baby and I don't care. Be honest with it. This is my biggest problem with liberals. They're not honest. I finally found an honest liberal, Bill Maher, and people are shocked because he didn't use colorful language to disguise what's going on. And that's the problem I have with liberals. They care about how they say things instead of the actual core concept, first principles concept of what they're advocating for. They like to fluff up what it actually is. A liberal will tell you you're fired, but they'll say, we no longer want you you're separated from the company. They'll use words like that to kind of like dampen the blow. I don't understand. Just tell it to me straight. And I think this is one of the biggest problems why I've never become a liberal, why I never really gravitated towards the left, because of ish like this. They're double speaking tendencies. But I digress. I think I went on a long rant there. Let's get back into the video.
Consequence-free sex for men and women.
Yeah.
Why are 98% of abortions elective?
Elective?
Like chosen rather than required surgery?
Probably just wrong place, wrong time.
Would you agree that abortion by and large is consequence-free sex for women?
I don't think it should be, no. I feel like it is.
Would you agree that abortion by and large is consequence-free sex for women?
Yes. To an extent, yes.
Wouldn't prostitution be consequence-free sex for men, except it wouldn't involve killing of an embryo?
Yes, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess technically it's not free sex because you're paying for it, so...
Isn't abortion sex without accountability, while prostitution is sex without liability?
Fair enough, yeah.
I wouldn't say abortion is not sex without accountability. I feel like if you're going for abortion, that's taking accountability for having sex, so...
Do you believe sex is a need or a want?
It's a want, because of lust.
If sex is not a need for men, then why is abortion a need for women? Can't women just masturbate like men?
Women can masturbate like men, but at the same time, women choose to do the abortion because they don't want to deal with the responsibility of having a child when you...
Ding, 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 ding. Hey, thank you, my black queen, my honest black queen. Because that's what it is. Like, that's the motivation behind all this abortion movement. This is why majority of the single women, they get riled up for abortion because they want the ability to pick and choose, right? Like my basic example of illustrating this this motive of mine is this story I like to illustrate. If you knew a woman and she got pregnant by Joe Slow, like some random average dude, he didn't have much prospects, he didn't seem to have potential to become anything great, that abortion coming faster than a heart attack. But then same woman, she get pregnant by Chris Brown. Remember, same situation. He want her to have an abortion. He doesn't want to support the child. He doesn't want to do anything with her. She was just a one-night stand. Same situation. Is that pro-abortion woman keeping the child or not? She keeping the child. Why? Because there's other motives for why she want the child. She want child support. She'll get primary custody. She'll get money, right? She sees the kid as a ticket to a better life. And that's what we have done to technically babies in this culture. And this is why I say it's a cultural issue. It's not a political issue. Abortion is not changing until we change this idea, this materialistic, consumeristic culture that we have bred in the millennial and Gen Z generations, and preventing it from hitting my kids in the Gen Alpha generation, because this is what's killing us right now. We think, oh, I can't give my kid a good life, I guess I shouldn't have kids. We delaying childbirth when there's people having kids during wars, but during economic struggle, oh, we can't have kids. It's like people are not willing to make sacrifices for things that they want. Right? You're not willing to put your time in. You're not willing to eat crap for a couple years to eat caviar at the end of it. People don't want to go through struggle anymore. And I think that's the core issue of the abortion debate. And I think because people say, oh, if you want to ban abortion, then you have to support me financially. I'm like, what? So you want the government to support you financially for a decision that you made outside of the government? Like, it's like I said, it's just about absolving responsibility from the two consenting adults, I guess. Right? And the biggest argument I have is that, hey, look, the baby's not, like, that's a separate body from you. You didn't die that day. That life died that day. You chose to execute that baby. Like, I have an argument as well, and this is from personal experience, is that I saw my kids 2 weeks into the womb. These dudes were moving. They were dancing in the womb. I'm like, damn, these kids moving in there. And my argument has always been that before a woman has an abortion, I think she should see an ultrasound, a live ultrasound of her baby, before she decide, okay, hey, look, this is the head. Look, this is what we're about to do to it. You're good with the procedure. I believe abortion will go down just from that, because ignorance is bliss in this case. In abortion, ignorance is bliss, because they can pretend that it's not alive. It's just a clump of cells, even though you're still a clump of cells, right? If I cut you're a clump of cells. Oh, it detects electricity in your heart. Your heart still beats with electricity. Like, there's nothing different from when you were a fetus until now. It's just you're bigger now. You're more conscious now. But, even unconscious people have rights. But for some reason, people want to pretend, oh, if it's not conscious, it's not alive. Finding all these filters or standards to justify whether something's alive or not. The same way that someone used to justify if you're a slave or not based on your skin color. Oh, you're a black man, you're most likely a slave. Right? Oh, you're black, oh, we're going to look down on you. To rationalize why they have to treat you differently than someone else. And I see that same kind of thought process here in the abortion debate, but I digress. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. What do you guys think about this whole abortion debate? Do you believe abortion is murder, or are you one of the people in the camp that abortion is healthcare? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be interested to hear from anybody, both sides, non-sides. You all agree with me? Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe again, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.